Gamers, what is going on? MTash here, and today I want to talk about Lyney. The trial character Lyney is not built very good, so always take that with a grain of salt. Also, they get bonus energy regeneration, so if you're popping your ultimate all the time, it's because of the test. But this is not like the best built Lyney ever. You actually overcap on crit when you start getting some of the passives going from your artifact set and everything, which, I mean, is fine, but you'd be able to make a better Lyney than this. But this Lyney is doing like 20,000 damage on some of the hits, 45,000 damage. I want to talk about the kit. I want to talk about if this character is good and if I would recommend this character. Let's get started. So, Lyney has a few things going for him. He's got a charge shot that's got 2 stages and has a pretty interesting playstyle. So, with this charge shot, you will send down a little hat, a little turret, and it will taunt enemies. That little sword going down also hits the enemy, and that little fireball also hits the enemy. So if you were to use that on someone and attack, boom, the initial hit, that hit, and then a fire hit. Okay? Now, if I was to charge shot and attack, and then use my E ability,
now disappear.
It doesn't appear, from what I can tell, to send out that fireball when you use your E ability, but your E ability does damage on its own, and the explosion does damage. And it's probably the exact same number, but it's hard to test sometimes, because I'm not big brain. But from what I can tell, there's no real difference between this charge shot hitting and that fireball, or going like this and hitting the enemies with that explosion. Whether you're up close or at a distance, it doesn't matter that much. So, your E ability is actually not necessarily something you should spam if you want to do optimal DPS, and I want to explain this. So, if I heal up, I'm going to heal up, and I do a charge shot, you're going to notice I get a stack. I've got 1 stack, okay? I can do another one, I can get 2 stacks, and if I keep healing up, I can get more. But at 60% HP, you won't get any more stacks. So I'm now at 60% HP. I can't get any more stacks. It's done. So the reason you would use your E ability is to pop your little hat, your Grin Malkin. It would also do more damage, and it will heal you, which allows you to then get more stacks. Okay? And it gives you a bit of a damage multiplier, but it's not amazing. It's giving you 85.1% more attack per stack, and usually you're going to have 1 or 2 stacks. And unless you're actively healing, you cap out at 2 stacks, essentially. Because each time you steal your HP, it's taking like 20%. So you get 2 stacks, and then if you are actively healing, you can stack up to 5 times, and that is not too bad. That is actually quite a bit of extra damage once you do that. And you're also going to heal for all of that HP. So even if your HP does somehow get drained or you're in a panic situation, you can use it as a way to heal yourself and stay alive. Because you could hypothetically just be doing a bunch of charge shots, healing with like Kokomi or Bennett, and then you can run around with 5 stacks for a while, and then you can just heal yourself up to full, essentially. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. There's a lot of multipliers, and that's why I wanted to kind of talk about this stuff. There's durations for your hat. There's durations for all these different things. There's percentages on the charge shots and the normal shots. There's a lot going on, right? So the playstyle, optimally, if you want to do as much damage as possible, is to get as many stacks as you can. And so you would want to be charge shotting, and as soon as I charge shot again, it will essentially send out the extra fireball from this. It will do it on its own, like a turret, like that, or I can just spam charge shots, and it will do those attacks as soon as I pop down the next one. All right? But because I'm locked in on 2 stacks, you would want something healing you if you want to get more damage for your E ability, or else I'm only going to have 2 stacks. So you would want to, eventually get Bennett going here, or Kokomi or something like that, I suppose. But now I can get these extra stacks. I can lay into these enemies here. I can get 5 stacks. Like, I'm doing 40,000 damage, right? I've got 5 stacks now. 58,000, 80,000 damage there, like 100,000 damage because I'm getting that essentially like 400% more damage using my E ability. So it's not too bad. And there's also no reaction there. If I was somehow able to apply cryo there, we're doing like 200 and some thousand damage in a hit. So that's pretty cool. And that is why, you know, he might work in some sort of pyro comp. If you look at this passive, you get more damage because there's other pyro people in your team. And so you could do Kazuha and then 3 different pyro units, and he would hit pretty hard. Because Kazuha is going to shred their defenses with Verdescent set, and he's going to boost up your pyro damage. And so, like, even if you're not doing these reactions, I think it will work. So I'm not going to call this guy, like, bad damage or something. There's going to be some crazy builds out there that I'm sure will do good. As for the ultimate, I didn't really show the ultimate off, but we'll do that really quickly. The ultimate is, I don't love it. You just kind of move around. You do a couple explosions of damage. You put down a hat. You get a charge for your charge shot. And there's a situation where you could stack up like a few charges really quickly because of it. Or you've got 2 stacks on this, right? So let's do this. Then I use my ultimate, and I can have 3 stacks without any healing or anything. And then hypothetically, I could pop this for a nuke, right? So it's interesting. I'll show you this kind of on the boss, what this would look like. We'll get 2 stacks. Okay. And now we'll use our ultimate. Going in there, doing some damage. And then hypothetically, you nuke like that. Right? So it could work in a couple different ways. But I just don't know if I love the feel of it. So I don't think the damage is necessarily going to be an issue, but the flow of the character, doing the charge shots, popping the E, he doesn't feel fluid to me. And I feel like his team comps are going to be very boring, and it's going to devolve into essentially this. All right? You would maybe do your 2 charge shots. You would pop it. And then you might want to rotate, go through everyone, get their abilities going, whatever it might be, right? Maybe you want to pop this bad boy, get the hat going, and then you're just going to go into the charge shots again, right? And, like, it's going to hit hard. And, I guess some people might really like it, but there's something with the charge shots and the delays on the attacks, and the downtime on his E, and the boringness of this Q ability, that, I just don't think I'm impressed with the fun factor. I've played a lot of Ganyu in my day. I've done a lot of charge shotting with Ganyu, and it is pretty boring, and I do the same thing. Like, I'm not gonna pretend like Ganyu is more fun or anything like that. I guess you could dumb down every character in the game to rotate through your teammates and then come back and attack. Like, I get it. Everyone does this, but it just doesn't seem fun for me. And while mono pyro could work, I love elemental reactions. I really enjoy having elemental coverage for multiple different shields and different enemies. And if I look at the potential team comps of this, what are the potential team comps with Lyney? That is what scares me the most. It's not that it has to be mono pyro necessarily. Like, mono element can work, and I'm sure it's cool. But what are our choices? So you got Lyney. You could potentially pair Dia in, I suppose, if you wanted some tankiness built into the team. Toma provides some shields, and I don't have a built Toma. Could you rotate through from Yoimiya to him? I think there's a lot of downtime there. I think there's a ton of downtime there. And I think I'd rather just have Yoimiya. You're not going to use Hu Tao. You're not going to use Klee. You're not going to use D-Luke, most likely, because you want Lyney to be the main DPS. And so it's like Xiangling and Bennett, and then one other person. Kazuha. Hypothetically, you could do something like a Xing Cho. You could do something like a Yelan. I suppose, as well, if you wanted to, but I just don't think I'm gonna do it. And I know that the Pyro Archon is a ways away, but I have a feeling they will make another good Pyro DPS sooner rather than later. Yoimiya, I think was the last like main Pyro DPS, other than obviously Lyney. Like Lyney is the new one, but I don't know. I think they'll make a new polearm 5-star. They'll make a new I don't know, something. I just don't think that Lyney is exciting to me. I don't think Lyney is going to be worth pulling. Because a DPS is a DPS is a DPS. If you support them, they're going to hit hard. They're going to do well, and you gotta look at the fun factor, and you gotta look at the comfort when playing. And I feel like he is just clunky. Does not feel good to me. I don't like his ultimate at all. It is so brutally boring. But anyways, I don't think Lyney's bad. I wouldn't recommend him. Okay, gamers. I forgot to do this part. So with Lyney's constellations, I don't know if I'd recommend him, period. But let's look at the constellations. So you can now have 2 Grin Malkin hats present at once, which is like a pretty big boost your DPS. Additionally, prop arrows will summon 2 Grin Malkin hats and grant you an extra stack of prop surplus. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. So what this means is every once in a while, you're going to go, bop, 2 turrets out at the same time. But for the most part, it's just going to be turret. Another one will come up. This one's going to die. Then you summon another one. This one's going to die. And you're going to kind of rotate through them. But essentially, after you've rotated through your team and come back to Lyney, do a charge shot, you're going to have both turrets up and running, taunting, and doing some damage. Which is, fine. As for this one here, when Lyney's on the field, you'll gain stacks of crit focus. Each stack will give 20% crit rate. Max up to 3 stacks. So that is really good. If you're on the field for like 6 seconds, you've got 60% more crit damage. That is a lot of damage to get, but you better love this character if you want to go that far. This one here, after hitting an opponent, you'll shred their pyro resistances. Here's my argument against that. You could get something like C2 Nahida, who shreds. I'm pretty sure she shreds defenses. You could get Kazuha on your team and get like constellations for him, or get EM from him for different teams. I just don't think getting this many constellations for this character would be worth it. I just don't. And then the final one, when firing prop arrow, you'll also fire a pyrotechnic strike, reprise that will deal 80% of his damage and is considered charge shot damage, aka you start using this thing, and you're just going to get an extra chunk of damage every time. It's a lot of damage. Please don't. Just don't. Don't. Because if you're doing this, I know that you're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars, or you've saved for months for this character, and if you love him, do your thing. But, like, you could have so many characters, you could have so many 4 stars built. Like, just please don't do this. I hate having to say it, but I just don't want to support that. Anyways, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.